Hello everyone and welcome to Digital Realm. Welcome to Realm with me, Prowen. In this episode we'll be going over Ramiel, the dragon that is from the Agent of Goddess event. In this episode we'll be going over the story of Ramiel. There is a two-part story. Let's continue with episode 1 of the 2. Hope you've been enjoying these characters and now dragon event stories. And let me know who you would like to see next time, whether it be a dragon or an adventurer in the digital realm. Ramiel's Daddy's Diary, Part 1. I am Ramiel. There was a time I saw mankind as a strange sort of insect below my notice. I only joined the forces with the church as a so-called angel to weather a great disaster some centuries past. Our interests aligned as all. An angel's role is the bond with humans called apostles. Through a sigil and a grant them power, precious few of their kind show their potential to become apostles, but I place an additional condition to those seeking my aid. I would accept only mature adults possessed with a keen intellect. While all humans are sadly limited creatures, the thought of spending my time with cretins was too excruciating to bear. And so, I lent my power to those reasonable specimens I chose, and there our relationship ended. Over the centuries, I exchanged as few words as possible with my apostles, and was convinced that was there for the best. Until 20 years back, my apostle at the time died young, giving rise to an urgent need to form a new bond. In the end, Nevin was selected, though he was but a child. Needless to say, I objected vehemently. Human children are ignorant, unformed things, vexing and selfish, fragile, weak. A parade of warning signs flashed across my vision at the mere thought of it. But they could find no other with the requisite potential, and as part of the covenant I swore those centuries ago, an angel with no apostle is fated to dissipate into manna before long. And so, with an alternate, I bonded with the boy and became his angel, and as he was an orphan, I was made to take him in and raise the pitiful creature myself. I cursed my luck, but excessive moping only clouds one's character, so I held my nose and looked after the boy. But I had no clue what a grand traveler child rearing was. One must consider the child's dietary balance for proper growth, and the process of that food exiting the body is most similarly fraught. Not to mention the solely lacking immune system that can scarce defend against a cold. Then, consider teaching societal customs and rules to a blank slate that also manages to exist in a precarious state of chaos, given over to tantrums at the drop of a hat. I came to regard the parents toiling away in a human world as veritable saints. The work was taxing and fiddly, boring and frenetic. Every moment frayed at my nerves. Yet all the while, watching Nevin grow through my labours caused a curious feeling to blossom within me. It was unlike a sense of accomplishment combined with a deep sigh of utter exhaustion. It was my first taste of it in my centuries of existence, and it was not entirely unpleasant. Perhaps that was why I came to find that somewhere along the way, raising Nevin had almost become fun. Weeks passed into months, then into years, and until the day came that something between us reached a breaking point. Part 2 of 1. Ramiel's Daddy's Diary, Part 2. While I neither expected nor desired to take in a small child, the difficult days I spent rearing Nevin eventually gave way to a sense of joy. The fruits of my labours were apparent as I watched the boy grow. quick as a reed, yet our relationship was not without flaws. And one grievance in particular gnawed at me. He was ever reserved around me, even after years together. It was clearly no problem time alone could mend. For if that were the case, it would have rectified itself already. So I looked into the past, into how he lived before he was chosen to be apostle. I learned his parents died while he was but an infant, and that he had been passed from relative to relative in the ensuing years. Perhaps the treatment he received, which was far from a warm familiar deal, was the cause of his aloofness, but he had been trained from birth to read a room and act the perfect child, if he was to remain in whatever home he had. Naturally, I was furious at the humans who had planted the seeds of doubt in the child, to think that he could do such a mere babe. And then I realized the truth. He saw me as no different from those cruel relatives in his past. One night, I confronted him and told him to stop living in a life spent in fear of my reactions. I told him it was a maladaptive solution, a hollow self, and that it would never win him the home he yearned for. Though I spoke only out of concern for Nevin's well-being, I still felt anger in my words. However, I believed a stern warning was needed to set him in the proper path. But I was naive, and the next morning, he was gone. Clearly he had taken my admonishment as naught but basic rejection. In a panic, I set off after him, questions racing through my mind. Was there no gentler way to put my concerns? No kinder words? Why I had not controlled my own emotions better? Finally, I found him curled up in the woods. The poor thing looked utterly lost. I immediately wrapped him in my arms and begged forgiveness for my cruel words. You never need walk on eggshells around me, I told him. I am your father, and you, my son. He didn't say a thing, but his slender arms wrapped around me and squeezed. I knew my words had reached him this time. In the coming months, the distance between us closed, and I felt renewed energy and purpose in my care for him. One might not know this to hear him speak these days, but, well, I suppose imperfect fathers rear imperfect sons. Years passed and our dynamic changed from parent and child to master and pupil, and then to trusted partners. He was ever in a rush to grow up, but I still cannot look at him and see anything but the small child I first took in. The years of men are short, and apostles come and go. Until now, I'd watched over that changing of the guard impassively. An apostle's death brings no special sadness. It is a mere changing of seasons, or a passing of days. But when Nevin's time comes, on that day, for the first time in my long existence, I will know true sadness. Wow. That was a really nice insight into Gabriel's story right there. And with it we got the achievement of Angelic Herald. So there we have it, everyone. They are the 2 adventurers and 1 dragon that we have from the Agents of Goddess. What do you think about it? From the Agent of Goddess event, to seeing Nevin's story, to having the backstory to Agent of Goddess through Pinon, and then Gabriel's story, which gets to see a little bit more about how these 2, Nevin and Gabriel, their relationship together really came to be, and how it came to change not only Gabriel but Nevin also. I really enjoyed not only the event but the story itself within these 2 characters, and then the event from Pinon being added in there to really sum up this whole event. I really like, as Kevin said in the drawing event that I did for the Dragalia Galia, or Dragalia Galia, that we are really building this world. That Side Games is really building Dragalia Lost here, and we are getting a lot of depth. So I'm excited to see what's coming more of this event. I'm sure there's going to be a second part, especially after the ending of the event. But what would you like to see come of these little short stories for both the dragons and both the adventurers? I'd love to hear from you all. Now, I'm not going to be going too much detail about it, but the adventures that are tied with the campaign, don't request those necessarily. I have something for those, and it will make sense come down the road. But for those that are in the banners and stuff that we don't really get to hear much of, those 3 stars, those 4 stars, and some 5 stars, let me know of who you would like me to read about next. There's also castle stories, which I do fail to read upon, and I apologize. But I would like to add more story into this channel through Dragalia Lost, as I absolutely love the story of the campaign, and absolutely want to dive deeper into their stories here. So thank you all very much for watching. You're all absolutely fantastically awesome, as you always are. I've been Prowen, and I will see you again within the realm real soon. Good journey, everyone. Bye-bye.